And welcome back, everyone, to Real Chill Conversations. So we have Brenna B in the building today, of
Hey,
course.
everybody.
And we did have a guest today. His name is Terrell Harper. Hopefully, he'll be able to join us in a minute. So we will be waiting on him. And how was everybody's Easter?
Mine was chill. It was very relaxing. It was calm. My older son had a birthday party to go to, and I was like, on Easter? And he was like, yeah, it was his friend's birthday, and he was having friends over. So when his friends came and picked him up with another friend and took him out to the friend lives in Sewanee. So they went out
Oh my
there and
gosh.
yeah. Kids these days driving, they got their own car, so we didn't have to make the trip to drop them off or pick them up. So he did that, but before he left, we did an egg hunt. We hid eggs and stuff inside the house, all, upstairs, downstairs, all around the house. Did Easter baskets and candy and stuff and a couple of outfits and all that. And we actually ordered in food. We were gonna like go to brunch, but Braden was like, I'm good. I'm just feel like hanging out. And I had a raging migraine. So I was like, I'm good too. And Bobby was like, why don't we just order something? So we just ordered food and just chilled and watched movies and relaxed. And that was it. But I mean, it was just like a regular chill day. I mean, I literally had forgotten it was Easter until like Thursday of last week, of the previous week. Up until then, I had no clue that Easter was Sunday. I was thinking it was like 2 weeks out.
And I actually celebrated Easter on Saturday because we had a get together, a family get together for my oldest son, because as you
Nice.
all know, he turned 18.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So
Can
we
you
have
believe
like,
it?
oh my gosh,
An
like I really
adult, you
can't.
have a legal adult in your household. Can you
Yes,
believe it, mama?
I
Oh my
cannot.
gosh.
And then somebody was like, oh, we're getting old. I said, no, he's getting old. I'm
Right.
getting younger.
The
Okay.
kids are the kids are the ones that are getting old. They're the ones that are aging. We're aging the children and celebrating each year that they advance and they get closer to adulthood. So you have one that has now crossed over into the fraternity of adulthood, you know? And I
Yeah.
was remember you had posted a pic of you and Major and I was like, oh my gosh. And like I remember when Mia was just a baby, teeny tiny little thing. And then I remember when you were pregnant with Major and like to see him now, I'm like, he's so big and handsome. Like, where is the time going? It is just getting away from us. But girl, when I think about like those years ago and then I like look at our lives and our podcast stuff now, I'm like, we look good.
We really do.
We look good.
We really good. We really do. And even with everything that we've been through, you know,
Yes. And we've been through some things.
we know, we
If
know.
you know,
But
you know.
even with all of that, I mean, the courage how we get back up and start doing things all over again and better. And
Yes,
it just keeps getting better every time.
it does. It really
So
does.
I'm grateful. And
Yeah.
even though I had some setbacks in my life,
Mm-hmm.
where I had to stop what I was doing,
Yep.
and it kind of like set me back a few steps, I was
Mm-hmm.
always able to get back up and
Absolutely.
keep going. And that's what we're talking about today, because the topic for today is execute the vision. Okay. It's those bumps in the road that we get, and we're like, we get kind of stuck, but are we actually moving? And
Mm.
what are we doing to move our goals, our dreams, our finances forward?
Yeah. Yep.
And actually, Mr. Harper came up with the topic, and I kind of just added some things in there with him. But this is a great topic to talk about today.
Absolutely.
And I would like for him to introduce himself and tell you all what he actually do. Hey, and Kuna, I hope I'm saying your name right. I don't want to butcher nobody's name.
I know.
Um, but yeah, so we're gonna wait on him to come in and actually, talk about what he do and where to find him, how you can locate him, and his input about this topic today. So hopefully he'll be here pretty soon and we can get rolling
Yep.
with that. And so yeah, we're gonna talk about executing the vision, because at times, like I said, it be so much going on in our lives too, and we really want to advance to the next step, but it I know it gets hard.
It does.
It
It
really
really,
does.
really does. I mean, and part of the hard part is just when you're like in the midst of it, you're like, where do I start? What do I
Hmm.
do first? Like, do I go right? Do I go left? Am I going up? Am I going down? Is it north? Is it south? Is it east? Is it west? It's like you have no direction, no guidance, no idea what it is that you're supposed to be doing or how you're supposed to be doing it. And a lot of us are just figuring it out, as we go along. But if you're like, if people out there are like you and like me, we like to research the hell out of things and try to be figuring stuff out. You
And
know?
whose parent used to be like, when we were young, like I know my mom for a fact, she used to be like, girl, you better take care of your credit because you
Right.
just don't know. Credit is like
Mine.
a very big thing. But
Yes.
I never knew like the concept and how big it was. Like I
Yes.
knew it was something that she kept telling me, but I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to know, like, tell me more.
Mm-hmm.
But I never really got that more thoroughly. Um, but yeah, she did warn me.
Yeah. My
She did
parents,
warn me. And I feel like a lot of us, um, sometimes we don't know. And this is something that I really and truly feel like it's something that should be talked about more at school.
absolutely. And
Because
I
this is
believe,
real life situations.
and
This is stuff that we really go through.
we've had conversations, on previous podcasts, and we've said, that finances and credit is really something that they should have us learn in school, instead of it being like home ec and cooking class, sewing class, metal shop, those different varieties of things. There should be a finance class. There should be a class that teaches you, how to write a check and balance your checkbook. Like my mom showed me. She took me to the bank and, sat there with me when I talked to the guy and opened up my bank account and I made my deposit. And I remember I got a passbook, and like every time I made a deposit, they would stamp my passbook and it would show how much I had in my account. I had my checks, and she showed me how to write a check and then how to put the entry in my checkbook. So if I wrote a check for $50, I'd write it, the date, who it was to, the amount, and then I would do the math. So I would subtract, let's say I had $100 in my account at the time. I wrote a check for $50. Now I have $50 remaining, in my account. And so she showed me that and taught me
Right.
that.
And that's
And
good.
I had they gave me an American Express card when I turned 16. So I had my first credit card when I was 16, and taught me all about credit and using it. And their motto was always, okay, use it, but when you get the bill, like it'll say, okay, your minimum payment due was $20. Don't pay your minimum payment. Pay the balance. Pay it off. Pay it down to zero. And I was like, well, why? And they're like, because your credit score is comprised of your utilization. So let's say you have a $5,000 credit limit on a credit card or a $10,000 credit limit on a credit card, and you're using $9,800 of that $10,000 credit limit, you're like basically maxed out on that credit card.
But I've
And that's going
also
to
heard that that's
drag your
bad too.
it's going to drag your score down. Yeah.
They
Yep.
said that, paying off your cards, I'm just quoting,
Yep.
but they say that paying off your credit cards, like that can hurt your credit as well. Oh, here he goes, y'all.
All right.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello. I'm
You're
sorry I'm a little
here.
late. I had a training that I was on with my team and everything. Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to
That's
meet you as
okay. We
well. No
got
worries.
you. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just making sure. So we have Terrell Harper in the building, y'all. And I was trying to stall out a little bit with talking about our personal lives. And of course, I was talking about what my mom used to tell me all the time was take care of your credit, girl, because you're going to need that. So, where I'm glad you're on here. I want you to tell everyone who are you and where they can reach you and what do you do?
So, my name is Terrell Harper. I'm originally here in Birmingham, Alabama. And so I am an execution and accountability strategist, but I help from basically anything finance, you name credit, identity theft, business funding. But my main focus with my business MVP Wealth Solutions is helping people to be able to get in position to build wealth and actually live out their dreams. So what MVP stands for is helping people manage their money so that they can be able to build their vision so that they can walk in their purpose. So money, vision, purpose. We want to help people be able to get back to that because I feel like a lot of people get lost along the way, especially after high school. We think like we have these dreams and we just want to get out there and we just think it's just dive into it and everything is just going to go that way. Nobody talked about the money aspect of that on career day when everybody came out. So, trying to especially help the youth get in position ahead of time so that they can be able to actually go live their vision and make it come true.
And let everyone know where they can find you.
Oh, and so I'm on Facebook, TikTok,
What's your
and
name?
Instagram.
What's your Instagram?
So my Instagram, uh, you can find me. I don't really be on Instagram a lot, but
Oh, you're like me.
yeah, Terrell Businessman Harper. I'm mainly TikTok and Facebook, especially Facebook.
Okay.
So Facebook is Terrell J Harper. I believe TikTok is the same, so you can just look me up by my name and find me there. Um, and getting ready to put more content up and stuff like that here. But a lot of what I post right now is Facebook, so you can definitely find me there big time.
Y'all heard that. So make sure you follow him and share, of course, because you may not need it, but someone you know may need it. May need those services. So don't short somebody else just because you don't need it. So let's start this podcast talking about myself because that's where I was. And I'll start with me. The life that I dreamed about is expensive. It's expensive. Um, and bad credit kept me out of it. So I meant like right when I left my mama house and she told me, girl, take care of that credit. I went crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Y'all laughing at me. I did. Am I the only one though?
No, because
No,
I can picture it. I can picture
I
it. I
can
mean,
name one of
I had my first
my
credit card
biggest moments I think I
at
had.
16. So, I went a little nuts and had to sit down with my parents like, listen, like this is kind of like for in case of emergency and the occasional splurge. This is not, every day like going to Macy's and having, a shopping extravaganza and, going out to eat here, there, everywhere. I was like, okay, got it. So yes, I can picture you going crazy. Yes, I can.
So
Y'all.
yeah, I've had moments. I think one of the moments that I talk about a lot is I had about $10,000 I got from my dad's Social Security. Blew it in 2 weeks.
Oh my
Blew it in
goodness.
2 weeks. I just it was my first time ever having that much money. I
Two
was out on my
weeks?
own. Me and my boys went up to Huntsville, and oh my God, had
Where did
rooms,
you go? Where did you go? And how in 2 weeks? What did you spend it on? Clubs?
clothes,
Clothes?
tattoos,
Oh
um,
gosh.
You name it.
everything. Now that I think about it, I should have got a car.
Right?
Absolutely. I think I would have spent it on a car.
Yeah.
I took off with it, and so that's kind of what got me into this position mentally of being like, wanting to better my finances because I saw that at that time I didn't execute. I did not execute right. I ended up doing all of that, and then later on, um, ended up getting into some trouble with custody of my kids, and it was at that point where I was just like, I need money,
Yeah.
and I think at that point I thought about all the times that I had the money,
Mm-hmm.
and I just went.
Right.
Ballistic.
Right.
Ballistic.
Yes. Yes.
But definitely this is more like freedom to me. Like being able to control your finances and having good credit, it brings a sense of freedom, to me personally, because
I
now
I agree. I think it's I mean it's like it's a sense of peace and it's a sense of calm knowing that if something were to arise, if something were to come up, you're going to be okay because if you don't have the liquid cash asset, you have the credit aspect of it where you can borrow or obtain a loan or what have you to help take care of a situation. So many different things happen, in life. If you're a homeowner, you're not renting, so you're not paying to a landlord, you're paying your mortgage. All your home repairs are on you. If the pipes burst, leak, or whatever, that's on you. You need a new roof replacement, roof repair, that's on you. And these things are not cheap. Roofs are, 25, 35, $40,000,
a
for a new
lot of
roof.
money.
To fix a plumbing issue can be 15 grand. I mean, my mom just had a roof repair that was like $15,000 and she was talking about it, but it was like no sweat off her back because one, she owns her home, in full. So outright, she paid off and she no longer has a mortgage. The only thing that she needs to pay is property taxes. And I'm like, see, lady, this is why I came from you because you taught me some things
She
on how
taught you good.
on how to be prepared, and I'm passing that down to my kids. But I feel like there are people that are our age that still don't have the knowledge that they need to really understand credit and finances, which is why I'm so excited to really have this conversation with you today. Like
Yeah,
I really want you to break it down for the people in the back that just aren't, they haven't gotten the message yet. They need to
yeah,
understand.
and that's kind of why I talk about, with being execution and accountability, with being an execution accountability strategist. Um, is giving people ways to basically execute. Because one of the things that a mentor of mine taught me is a lot of this starts psychologically first. One thing I shared with you that she said was people spend money a lot of times emotionally, and it's because of the simple fact that they've at some point was bad with money and they're afraid of money and money's afraid of them. So like she explained it, if you were to get in a fight with someone that was fearing for their life, her mother basically told her you should always be afraid of that person because they're not just regularly fighting you, they're fighting for their life. They don't know. So and she was like, sometimes those people are unalive you. And she was like, it's the same thing with money. When it hits your account, why would money feel safe with you if you're afraid of it? So if you
Wow.
don't give money a place to stay, why would money stay with you?
Right.
So how do we give us an example of how we get comfortable with money? How do we not be afraid of money? How do we do
So
that?
that starts with first rebuilding trust with you. And it's also just your brain only knows what it knows. It doesn't know
True.
anything past what it knows. So
Right.
your brain is always going to protect you from anything that is a risk or anything like that. So in order for your brain to know that it's safe, you have to first do it. That's the only way to do it. So uh, I tell people start with an emergency fund first. You need to be able to. In this economy, we used to say like $1,000 saved, but you want to have at least 1,500 to $2,000 saved in this economy, and then you want to start paying off some of those debts. You want to try to structure them from least to greatest, and we start doing what we call the debt snowball. You want to try to stack those debts up, pay those lower ones off, then take that money and roll up to the next one. But it's not until you start doing these things that you actually start building trust within yourself and showing yourself that you can do it, because that's the problem. A lot of people stop trusting themselves. They lost trust with themselves. Now, I'm gonna give you 5 things of why that is. Boundaries. You don't know how to tell people no when it comes to spending your money. You
Okay.
don't know how to tell yourself no when it comes to that stuff you want.
Mm-hmm.
um, but confidence. You lost confidence in yourself. Like me, I had $10,000 and blew it. Every
Boom,
time I
just
touch
gone.
money, I'm trying to hurry up and get it out of my hand because I'm like, this bill coming, this bill coming. You got to rebuild that trust in yourself.
Right.
Um, Emotional independence. You depend on too many people when it comes to making financial decisions because you done destroyed the trust in yourself. You need to get to a place where you're like, okay, look, I know I need to do this. I know I need to do this. And get to a place where you ain't emotionally spending. I'm upset today. I'm gonna go drop 3 racks. Or oh, I didn't had a good day or a good week. Let me hit the club this weekend and throw $3,000. Um, but ownership, own that you're in this position. Like you own that you're here. Stop blaming your job that it didn't pay you enough. Stop blaming your cousin and them that didn't pay you back. That goes back to boundaries too. Like you need to set boundaries with everyone, but the bigger one is decisiveness. People who build wealth, they make decisions instantly. They don't think how much I'm going to lose from it. They think how much am I going to gain. And a lot of people make decisions from that place. What am I going to lose? So you got to start thinking what you're going to gain and start putting money towards places that make you money, residual. Because if you can get yourself to a place where it can just stack up, then you're good. And you just kind of start building from there. But it starts with that emergency fund first, because you
Right.
need to be able to actively go out here and tackle debt without worrying. If I pay this off, then I'm gonna be in the hole tomorrow. You need a safety net first.
Do you have tips for those of us that need to build that emergency fund, but we're stretched so tightly between paychecks. Like we barely have any room to breathe. Like once that first check hits and we pay X, Y, Z, Z, X, A, B, C, D, E, F, we've only got $37 left over until we get paid in 2 days. Like, how do we set up an emergency fund? How do we do that? Do we have to cut back on certain extracurricular activities? Do we have to not have so many subscriptions to streaming services? Like, what are some ways that we can actually build up our emergency fund so that we can have that $1,500 to $2,000 saved up just in case of emergency? Because we all need it. It's all happened. We've all had a tire blowout on the highway. Something happened with the engine, and now the alternator and the battery needs a fix and repair, and yada yada. I mean, there's always something where that money could come in hand, and we don't have it. So how can we start saving, putting money aside when we're already stretched so thin?
Gotcha. So the key thing, like I tell everybody, especially when it comes to credit, 80% of people who have bad credit is because they don't have a budget in place. They have no idea where the money is going and they ain't tracking it. So, but that comes down to when it comes down to like the subscriptions and stuff. My mentor gives me a saying that says, until I want to becomes I have to, it'll never happen. Because your wants will keep you where you are until they become I have to. So I tell people as we're making a budget and we're going down that list, is this something you want or something you have to have? Because some of those subscriptions and stuff, you don't need them. You don't need them. You can.
I don't need Zeus Network. They can go.
You don't need them. And like, to be real, like most people sit here and watch TV and stuff like that or whatever the case may be, but in the same token, do you also like you really have to have Hulu, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Tubi? You got about $100 worth of subscriptions right there. That's $100 freed up to the leftover money right there when you could have just had one platform,
right,
and tried to handle that.
right.
And I know a lot of people go into subscriptions now, but what about cable? I know like we got about like I just talked to them the other day, and you got a 2-year program before you know the price gonna go up. Those are questions you should ask. So you got 2 years to just stick with cable, get rid of all the subscriptions and start stacking up.
Right.
But you got to start thinking about what do I actually need right now? If it doesn't align with my goal, well, let's take it a step further. If it doesn't align with God's purpose, what you got in your life.
Ooh.
Because you're trying to have your cake and eat it too, is what that is. You want to live your life, but then you're trying to also have what God wants you to have over here. You got to choose one,
right,
in the beginning season, because at some point it's going to come full circle where God is going to bless you with everything that you asked for, but you got to be a good steward first. So that's a big part of it.
How long does it take to fix someone's credit?
Say again?
How long does it take to fix someone's credit?
So typically it depends on, everybody's credit is different. So it depends on how much they have on there and what particular types of items they have on there. So for me, like it took me about a year. I had 59 items with my credit before my partner platform, UWE, helped me get all of that stuff off. And so most clients start to see results as early as 2 months, to see those results moving, because every time you send out disputes, they have 45 to 50 days now, usually 30 to 45 business days to respond. But those max results are normally around 3 to 6 months and above. So, it takes time with credit repair.
I do have another question. As far as for my son, because he just turned 18 as well, what kind of tips do you have for the young adults, like 18, that are just coming into the credit situation? How to build a strong credit?
So I tell most people, because the credit card companies, first of all, let's go ahead and talk about that. When he get to college or whatnot, they're going to be there. That's where most folks start their credit. I
It
got
was
my first
lined, they
credit
was
card.
lined up in the hallway when I was moving into my dorm at college. They was lined up in the hallway. Fill out an
The credit
application. Here's an
card
application.
companies?
Yeah, here's the application. Here's the Citibank, Chase,
Yep,
Discover,
See, I already
MasterCard,
trying to set you
Visa,
up.
ready,
Capital One, all of them. I mean, I
ready.
went to school and I moved in and I came away with like 7 credit cards.
Wow.
So
Yep.
you just start there. I tell people do like a secure card because a secure card would be better. Because you just load it up with your own money or something like that. And then you never want to go over 30% of whatever is on that card. So if I got $100 on there, I don't want to go over $30.
I'm glad you
Now,
said that.
yeah, I
I'm
heard y'all
glad you
talking
said
about it
that.
when I came on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
but
glad you
Yes,
said
because
that.
I was telling Brenda, I was like, she was saying that just get a, spend something on your card and then just pay it off. Don't just pay the minimum payment. And I was like, well, some people say if you do that, then your score will go down.
so if you go over the 30%, it will drop. And then when it comes to getting close to that 30% range, you get less points for it. So the
Oh, okay.
closer you are to that 30% range, they're going to give you like 5 to 10 points because the way the credit bureaus, I always use it as an analogy like this. If I constantly ask my mama for money, eventually she's gonna get to a point where she don't want to give it to me because I'm always asking for money.
Hmm.
Credit bureaus see it the same way. Like, how are you treating this like another check? This is
Right.
another check. This is borrowed money.
Yeah.
So you use what you need to use. And if your situation is in a point where you need the X amount of money or the full amount of this money, then they're going to look at it as you're not trustworthy. Something in your finances is off. I can't loan you anything.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. And the reason why I talked about, using my card for X, Y, and Z and then paying it off at the end of the month. So before the statement closes, when it reports to the credit bureaus, it reports that I have a zero balance and I have X amount as my limit, right? So I've been doing that for years now. And I want to say within the last year, about every 3 months, I keep getting credit line increases that I have not asked for or requested myself. They're like, congratulations on maintaining your excellent credit. We've increased your credit line to XYZ. And I'm like, they just gave me another 5 grand and I didn't even ask for it. So,
Okay, okay.
so you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
That's good
that's
tip.
what I say. That method seems to work. So, and then when I do carry a balance, I do make sure that I'm underneath that 30% threshold. I've actually dropped it down to 20% for myself, just from my own personal discipline, because, one of the things that you were talking about, in order to accomplish the goals and achieve what you want, it sounds like, aside from being able to have a budget and things like that, you also need to be very disciplined. So I've learned to
Bingo.
be very disciplined with my money, and I have a routine with my bills, especially my credit card bills. And that routine is, yeah, I'll swipe, 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 but I'm paying it off, or I'm at least getting it down to less than 20% of what my total credit line is. So my credit utilization score is excellent. When I look at my credit reports and pull all 3 of my credit reports, it's excellent on all 3 credit bureaus for those areas, because I don't utilize everything that they gave me. So I'm not looking like I'm, borrowing from, Peter to pay Paul and X, Y, and Z. They're giving me money that I'm not even asking for at this
Yeah,
Right.
point.
big time. So I always
Okay,
tell people
Sean.
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I tell people you want to use at least around 10 to 15% of whatever their card max is on there. Because the lower you do that, like I said, the more points you get. And then I'm gonna give you a hack that boosts it real fast as well. It's called the 15-3 rule, where you pay half. So, like, let's say I did $10 of 100. I'm gonna pay half of it back 15 days before it's due, so $5, and then I'm gonna pay the other half back 3 days before it's due. What that's gonna do for that one transaction of $10 is boost it twice for that one transaction. So I've
Yep.
seen people get anywhere between 75 to 250 points over the course of 3 months from just doing that hack alone. So that's a good tip for him too to start. One of my business partners and mentors, his
Thank
son
you.
did that and was able to get his car himself. He didn't even need a cosign. So
Wow.
that's a good
That's
tip there
great.
too.
That's
That's
great. That's excellent.
awesome.
Yep.
And before we leave today, you all, I wanted to go over a couple of myths or facts. You all have to tell me which one it is.
Okay.
Are y'all ready?
Ready?
Okay.
Checking your credit hurts your score.
Hold on. You said checking what?
Checking your credit hurts your score. Is that a
Myth?
myth or a fact?
Myth?
Myth.
Myth. Okay. I have another one. Closing credit card helps your score, which this was goes back to
Myth.
Brenna.
Myth?
Myth. You need to be debt free to have good credit.
Myth.
Myth?
All right. Well, there
Yes.
you go. All of them are myths. Did you all have any final remarks for today?
I just wanted to say that I think it's really great what you're doing. Thank you so much for joining us today, sharing your information. Thank you for sharing, how people can find you and reach out. I'm sure people will probably have questions and hopefully they can slide in your DMs and ask the questions, or there's an email contact or something, because a lot of people, they want the assistance, they want the help, but are embarrassed, to ask the questions or embarrassed to talk about it. Like I said, there's people that are our age, and unfortunately they are just not as educated as they should be when it comes to finances and credit. And I always say it's never too late, to get yourself there, but you have to start somewhere. And
Yeah.
if we can do our part and share the information, share the knowledge is power, then we're using our platform for a wonderful thing. And it really sounds like what you're doing is definitely a good thing and very much needed throughout the communities in all ages, from the ones first starting out to the ones that have put some years in on the clock, and
Yeah.
maybe they need to start thinking about what they're going to be doing in their next phase of life after working 20 something years at the same job. Are they retiring? Are they going to become an entrepreneur, and all of those kinds of things? And I'm sure people have those questions too. So your information is very valuable and you're an excellent resource. So thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
guys for
you.
having me on as well. And so, if anybody is looking to start a business, if you're looking for credit help or financial help, because we do more than just credit repair, you know, and if you're looking to just walk in your purpose, I'm here to help. And any questions you have, I'm here. But it's definitely needed. What I leave everybody with is you gotta. A lot of us have abandoned ourselves at some point where we put other people before ourselves, and people pleasing. It's
Oh,
a lot of what
yes.
got us in the hole.
Yep.
And so we need to get to a place where we start thinking about what we need again,
Yeah.
getting to where we need to be. And it takes the first step. In order to basically get a new mindset, you first have to do it. You can't talk yourself into it. None of those things. You have to move. You got to execute. So as long as you
Execute.
execute,
Execute the
Execute.
vision.
Execute the
Execute
vision.
your dreams.
Yep.
execute
100%.
those finances.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah.
Execute that what financial freedom, as they
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
say. But
Mm-hmm.
I do want to say at the end of the day, I think most people do have a vision. Most people have goals, dreams, I think the difference between that is that some of us get stuck and we
Yeah.
Yeah.
just need that little push.
You not push.
Yeah.
Some
Like,
of
come
us
on,
just get,
you can
yeah,
do it.
some of us do get stuck, but that's when you have to go back to your mind frame and think positive. I think that that works too. Like when you actually have a positive mindset, it's like you're executing what you need to do, but in a positive way. So I feel
Right.
Yeah.
like when you do that, things work out,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
So shout out to you, Terrell,
Thank you,
for
Terrell.
dropping some real knowledge today.
Yes. Thank
And
you.
you can literally change a lot of people's lives with credit because,
Mhm.
Thank
and
you.
like you said, that's not the only thing that you do. So that's great. And if y'all want to hit them up, definitely do so.
Thank you,
We go
guys.
we gonna hit him up anyway
And
because
think
we trying to make
bigger.
real chill conversations in LLC. We trying to turn this whole podcast into an actual factual business. So
Absolutely.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
conversations to be had, to be continued.
I'm here. I'm ready.
All
Whenever,
right,
just
let's
let me know.
go.
All right, you all. So
All
we'll be
right,
back
go.
next Sunday with Brenna.
Yep.
And peace out.
Have a
Bye
good one,
bye.
guys. Good night.
Yeah, have a
Good
good
Bye.
one.
night.